I had some friends who were saying the same thing, like, I don't want to, but I got to root for the Steelers this week. And I was like, no, fuck the Steelers, dude. Like, I don't care. But the problem is when the Bengals lost to the Chargers, then I was like, crap, now I need the Steelers to win. And then they did. And I was like, okay, fine, thanks. You can go back to your hole now, but thanks for the help, I guess. I mean, I'm probably going to be drinking coffee after this podcast because I got a video to produce out, but I ain't doing that during the show. What I am doing is, in let's call it like in the spirit of Ben Roethlisberger announcing that he's probably going to retire at the end of the season, I am going to drink my last Yingling Lager.
Salute to you, Ben Rothberger.
Pennsylvania is just filling me with happiness lately, and it's a weird feeling.
He had a good career. He just, he just had to do it against us.
He had a stupid career. I ain't gonna say anything nice about him. Fuck you, Ben Roethlisberger.
I ain't gonna say that about Lamar Jackson. Spoiler alert for what's ahead in this podcast. I got literally nothing nice to say about Lamar Jackson right now.
Hey, he's a nice person.
He's a nice person. I'll give him that. He got a good personality, but you know what though? Nobody hold back on my quarterback. I ain't holding back on you, Lamar.
There you go. All right, so let's start off with the Bengals this week because the last couple weeks we've been starting off with the Browns, and I just kind of want to dive in. Well, but we still got to talk about them. I think we're going to start off with talking about the Bengals, though. They lost 41-22 to the Chargers, and I said at the top of the episode that the 41-22 scoreline does not, I think, properly reflect how they played in this game or how this game in general went, and I stand by that because you really couldn't tell what happened in this game by the scoreline alone because the Bengals did not get blown out, except they kind of did. But then they didn't. But then they fell apart. Like, okay, so the Chargers did go up 24-0 in the second quarter. Mm-hmm. It was awful. It was awful. I was sitting there at the game. I was with everybody in my section. I'm like, can I get my money back? I just kept shouting that over and over. I'm up in like section 300. Nobody on the field can hear me, and I'm still like, I want my money back. What's going on? But then, something sparked within the Bengals, man. Like, suddenly they just started playing so much better. The defense just started playing, the defense was stifling. And really the defense played fine all game. Not great, but they were fine. The biggest problem early on was the special teams was absolutely awful and kept setting the Bengals up in awful positions all game. And the defense was okay. And so it's like eventually, like I said, something sparked. And, the defense kept holding the Chargers and the offense kept actually putting points on the board. And before you know it, it's the third quarter and suddenly it's 24-22 and the Bengals are driving and they're basically, they're pretty obviously about to get in field goal range. And then you got Evan McPherson. You're pretty sure they're about to make it 25-24 in favor of the Bengals after going down 24-0.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and just roast the Bengals for it. I was getting ready to, like early in that game, I was getting ready to come on here and just roast the hell out of the Bengals. But the way that they fought back, I don't think they deserve to be roasted. I feel more like if we see the Chargers again in the playoffs, I think we could beat them.
I think I could.
But what happened though was, Joe Mixon got the ball in field goal range, Thomas. He did. And then he fumbled the ball.
Literally.
No, that's what I'm saying is what happened is he fumbled the ball.
He literally did that. Like he literally and figuratively fumbled the ball.
And then the Chargers returned it for a touchdown. Suddenly, instead of 25-24 Bengals, it's 30-22 Chargers. And then and then it was just kind of a avalanche at that point. It was all Chargers after that point. So like that 41-22 scoreline, the reason that is what it is because after the Bengals had that fumble, it all just kind of fell apart after that. And that's why it ended up looking like a blowout, even though really, if you look at the way that this game went for most of the game, it really wasn't a blowout. It started out as a blowout, and then the Bengals came back. And so it was a respectable game until the end, and then like I said, it fell apart. But
I texted you. I texted you while I was.
You did. You did.
I texted you. I called you. I was like, "Yo, you already fumbled that game." He was like, "No, we literally fumbled that game."
no. But you also texted me. I think maybe at halftime or something like that. You texted me the same thing you texted me when the Jaguars were up on the Bengals like 21 to something or other. I think it was 21-7, and you said y'all about to come back, and then the Bengals came back. Well, Thomas, you texted me that again, y'all about to come back, and then they did. They didn't finish it off this time, but you were right this time again. You weren't as right this time as you were last time. But it's like you've done that twice. You texted me twice that y'all about to come back, and both times you were right. So
I just seen the momentum going in the Bengals' favor at the end of the first half, and I thought they were going to ball back in the second half. So I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna come back. And I don't really think the Chargers' defense was really keeping up with y'all for real. At the end of the first half, you can really see it, especially at the end of the first quarter, you can start to see it. Burrow had that weird pick that he threw at the end of the first quarter. I can't remember who he was throwing to. But it already seemed like y'all were really even with Joe Burrow's finger when he hurt his finger. I texted you before he hurt his finger, and then even when him hurting his finger, it didn't really seem like Joe Burrow was really missing a beat. And then he kind of did in the second half. You kind of tell it's affecting him in the second half, but he wasn't turning the ball over like Lamar Jackson was in the second half. But either way, he still looked like he was a little less effective in the second half than he was in the first half. But I mean, he had dislocated finger. Sue him. I wasn't to give you all that pass.
But at the end of the day, he still threw for 300 yards.
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he did. Very impressive.
Joe Burrow? No, he didn't.
He had 3 touchdowns?
No, he had 2 touchdowns, one of which was on the ground. Justin Herbert had 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Now I will say though, Joe Burrow, I feel like aside from the interceptions, woof. Although one of those interceptions was not his fault. One of those interceptions was just Jamar Chase being an idiot. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what
that was
he
the pick I was
was
talking
doing there.
about.
Like I mean, it's one thing to drop a pass. It's another to like fling it behind you where you know a defender is. Like, I mean, I said on my Bengals Chargers recap that y'all can go check out if you go check out my personal YouTube channel. But I said on the recap, I said, what did I say? Fuck.
No, they just
I said, I said on the recap that I don't understand why the Bengals are having all these issues with there's a lot of situations this year where like Joe Burrow's thrown 14 interceptions this year, right? And you know how many of them have really been his fault? Maybe about half. So why the hell are there so many interceptions this year that are just weird, crazy, fluky plays that is not really the quarterback's fault? Like, what is the team doing around Joe Burrow that's creating these situations where interceptions happen and they're not really Joe Burrow's fault? Like, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to find out, because something's got to be going on there. And that needs to be fixed. Like, this sloppy, weird, crappy play is indicative, Thomas, of a young team. To be fair, the Bengals are a very young team, so you should probably expect some of this sloppy play, and hopefully they'll get better over time. And I mean, my perspective is just like, considering the expectations we had going into this season, if we make the playoffs, I'm not really too worried about how we get there.
Well, you got
Like
yeah. I mean,
it'd
what?
be like back in 2011 when we made the playoffs and everybody thought that we were going to have the worst record in the NFL. It'd be similar this year.
You also got to realize that Joe Burrow is this is he didn't finish the season last year. He already played more games this year than he did last year, right? Am I wrong for saying that? Did he already play more games?
Uh, what week are we in?
Uh,
Was that week 13 that we just got through? So
yeah,
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 yeah. He made it through, I guess, 10 and a half games last year.
yeah. So he's playing more of the season now. He's deeper in the season. This is second year, but like he didn't complete last year. So even though he started last year, he's still very young, very green in the league right now. Like you said, like he's young, he's still learning. So a lot of those picks are gonna be cleaned up as you get older, as you become more of a veteran in the game. I'm not saying that we should ignore them and just not be alarmed by it, but
Well,
but
I
sorry,
agree. I agree to an extent. I agree. He's going to clean up the interceptions that like the one he threw near CJ Uzama, where there's a defender right in front of him. It's like,
yeah,
bro, what were you seeing? There's a defender
yeah,
right here. Like I do that on Madden. I do that on Madden all the time, and I constantly want to throw my controller at the computer and stuff like that. But I also don't get paid millions of dollars to play Madden. So
yeah.
I'm just like if you're a professional NFL quarterback and you're doing the same thing that I do on Madden, then you need to figure out what you're doing because that's not okay. But
Us,
the interceptions that aren't going to get cleaned up as he gets older though are the ones that aren't his fault because he can't do anything
yeah,
about those.
yeah,
And
and
that's
and
what I'm
and,
confused about. Why do these keep happening?
And all, yeah, also like I was just gonna say, like you like you said, you're playing with a young team. Sometimes we forget that Jamar Chase is a rookie. I know he's a good weapon, but he's still a
Yeah,
rookie, and
but
he's
Yeah, but
still a rookie.
you don't need to be throwing the ball behind you. Like
I that
he basically lateraled it to the defender. That's what
that
happened.
that was a bone that was a bonehead that was a bonehead play. What would you call a
I
bonehead
mean,
play?
what it was, it seems like he has this problem all year, and he's had this since the preseason. He's got like the excitement jitters. He's got this idea that like before he actually makes the catch, he wants to know what he's going to do. He knows how he's going to take it to the house. He's got everything planned out in his head, and then he
Mhm.
forgets to actually make sure he catches the ball. Like he's not taking care of the details, which is the problem, and that is indicative of a young player. Jamar
Yeah.
Chase is that's exactly who Jamar Chase is. He's a young player, and I mean you're right. But at the same time,
yeah,
like
and I get
bro,
it. Nah, he is it's a growing process. It's a growing process. Y'all almost there, but y'all not quite there yet. It's
AJ Green didn't drop this many passes.
growing pains. I think I don't know. I think rookie Jamar Chase might be a little bit better than rookie AJ Green. You know better than I
Jamar
would.
Chase is more explosive than AJ Green ever was, which is impressive by the way, because AJ Green was
Oh no, AJ Green was
explosive.
a
Like AJ Green was
AJ Green was a baller when he first came in the league. Like
yeah, but
man,
Jamar Chase is more explosive than AJ Green was.
I think
But
Jamar Chase is
he's also
generational.
less he's also less refined, which is kind of maddening.
Yeah, but I think when he gets everything like he's just raw. He's just a lot of raw talent. But I think
I think perhaps missing that year, like taking 2020 off because of COVID,
uh,
I think might have actually set him back a little bit more than a lot of people give credit for,
yeah, but
because
I think
I think he came into this year and he was rusty because he hadn't played football in a whole year.
yeah. And I think it might be, he hasn't been efficient the last couple of weeks as he's been the first few weeks. So
Right.
it could also be might be a little bit more tired this year than he would be last couple of years because he's playing deeper in the season than he's used to. Not
Yeah.
only has he never played this long in college season, he hasn't played this long at all in any nature in the last 2 years because he's
Right.
so yeah. Yeah, I think he'd be good. The defense doesn't look terrible. Aside from the turnovers in the second half, which put the defense in a weird position. That fumble by well, not fumble by Joe Mixon. That was killer. Talked about the interception. It's turnovers. I'm with you. Like, this is a team that, y'all clean up a couple mistakes here and there. Y'all could beat the Chargers. The Chargers let y'all back in that game. Obviously, your offense was moving. It's just that y'all just couldn't get that momentum to just fully come back and merge yourself as the better team than Chargers.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm with you though. I agree with y'all. Y'all were to see the team in the playoffs again. Y'all beat them.
I think so. The nice thing though about the playoff race is, man, I don't love needing this to be a thing, and I'm very angry at the Bengals, by the way, for making this need to be a thing. But we talked about on, I think, the state of the AFC North, and we definitely talked about it on predictions, how you were like, oh, I want the Steelers to win so that the Ravens can be pushed down a peg. And I had some friends who were saying the same thing, like, I don't want to, but I got to root for the Steelers this week. And I was like, no, fuck the Steelers, dude. Like, I don't care. But the problem is when the Bengals lost to the Chargers, then I was like, crap, now I need the Steelers to win. And then they did. And I was like, okay, fine, thanks. You can go back to your hole now, but thanks for the help, I guess. But now, despite the loss, the Bengals still are only one game behind the AFC North, and they still have a game left to play against the Ravens.
Yeah.
So, everything is still pretty much the only thing that really happened by losing to the Chargers. But weirdly enough, the only thing that it really changed was that the Bengals are now in control of the number 7 seed in the AFC playoffs instead of the number 5 seed.